video is no doubt the growth engines of this industry, is growing much faster than the digital world.
Welcome to Seeking Alpha's CEO interviews, informed conversations with the best and brightest CEOs in the publicly traded markets. Quality of leadership is a decisive factor in stock performance. Our show provides intimate and in-depth investing discussions with industry leaders across all sectors of the marketplace. We publish excerpts on social media platforms and the full conversations on seekingalpha.com or on our highly rated Seeking Alpha mobile app under CEO interviews.
Welcome back to Seeking Alpha. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst, and today interviewing CEOs. My guest today is Ofer Druker. He's the CEO of Tremor International. Ofer, thanks for being with us at CEO interviews.
Thank you, Josh, for having me. Of course.
Yeah. So just a little bit about Tremor. You guys are on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol TRMR, a global company. You guys are offering end-to-end technology advertising platform operating across three core capabilities. That's video and data and CTV. And you guys have got this unique approach. You're centered on offering a full stack end-to-end solutions, providing it with major competitive advantages in the video advertising ecosystem. For folks who haven't heard about Tremor, maybe you could dive in a little bit about that and kind of unpack your business model.
Sure. So as you mentioned, our business is all about video, CTV, and data. That's how we built our platform. And it's end-to-end because we believe that it's demonstrated a lot of value for the marketplace and for our partners. And I will name a few, just top lines. So we are talking about simplicity. I think that the market is looking for simplicity of how they run campaigns, and we can offer that by the end-to-end solution. The second thing is empowering of data, which also we saw during the COVID that people are looking more and more for targeting capabilities. And I think that we are doing it for many, many years. And the end-to-end solution is, of course, enabling us to provide interesting data elements, both to the advertiser side, but also to publishers that are joining our platforms. And the last point is trend that started and is getting like more gravity all the time is supply path optimization, basically to be closer to the publishers that, of course, we can offer that through our end-to-end solution. And from the other side, also for the publishers to be closer to the source of media buying, it's helping them. And we also provide them a unique and exclusive, basically, source of campaigns that's running through our DSP and through our sales team.
For people that are reaching out and asking about Tremor's service, are you finding that it's individuals who want to have their brand recognized? Or is it the individuals who want like immediate gratification, whether that's an app and they want immediate downloads? What are kind of some major, not concerns, but what is the majority of the audience that's coming to you looking for?
Branding. So we are not driving actions, of course, through video, through CTV. It's just, it's happening also on performance level, but right now we are offering branding, storytelling, basically, to our clients. And we are giving them all the tools in order to reach their target audience, in order to do that in the most efficient way. And we are also adding a lot of, working a lot of creative and connection between data and creative to enable them to tell the story in the most precise way and the most efficient way. So, but to answer your question from the top, it's a lot about branding.
Okay. Let's dive into that revenue model. Offering supply side, demand side solutions for digital advertising. And also you have your own data management platform offering advertisers data to achieve effective and targeting advertisements, like you mentioned. Tremor's also turned much of its focus for growth to video and connected television, or CTV, both of which are growing markets. Within that, where are you seeing the most revenue coming from?
I think that we are unique in the ecosystem because we didn't evolve into video. We basically, if you know our story, and I will tell it maybe in a very short manner, we acquired basically three major companies that were all about video. We acquired Tremor Video in the summer of 2017. We acquired Rhythm One that acquired before that Yumi, and a lot of its activity was about video and CTV. And we acquired Unruly in the beginning of 2020, that all its activity was all about video. So it's not that we evolved to video, we are a video company, and this is something unique in the marketplace. More than 80% of our revenues are generated by video. And I think this is a very unique piece, and that's where we are growing also. I think that we are enjoying from growth because basically the areas that we choose to grow and to work in, meaning if you look at video, CTV, and data, we chose that a few years ago, but in the last 2 years, it's got like a very strong support from the market when people are basically investing and spending more money around video and CTV because this is what's working for them, and that's where they can really meet their clients, potential clients.
When people are reaching out to you, is it from this traditional standpoint where they just need help with this branding, or is it that they're unfamiliar with the new territory of over-the-top OTT and social media, TikTok, and whatever else?
I think that we are working mostly with people that are investing in TV advertising in the past years. So they are looking to expand their reach into digital, and a lot of basically born digital companies that are not working on TV, but they are basically looking for digital clients. So we are not in social media at all. We are working mostly on sites, on mobile, as I just mentioned, and 25% already of our revenues, more than 25% of our revenues is CTV now.
Do you have any opinions about the recent censorship that's been going on? There's video platform Rumble says it's cutting ties with Tremor internationally, accusing Tremor of censoring right-wing media personality. So two-part question. What's your opinion about the current censorship right now? And how do you determine what content makes it onto your platform?
I think it's relatively easy to look at that in a little bit different manner. We are using tools that are very common in the industry, like Double Verify, IAS, and other providers. The major partner of us is Double Verify. And when we are looking at that, they are sometimes blocking like offensive or questionable content, or they are flagging it, and other tools that we are using like that. And when we ask questions about the data, or we are not able to basically conduct censorship to clients or publishers that we are working with. So we are using the tools that are in shelf tools in the market. And when something like that arises, we ask questions. In this particular case, I think that this company Rumble decided to cut the ties with us. Which is fair, but we are working according to the taste and to the willingness of the advertisers and to common practice in the industry.
Mm-hmm. What gives you your competitive advantage? There's a lot of people out there doing something similar, but digital advertising industry more and more competitive. Tremor operating in a dynamic industry. There's a lot of small players trying to navigate a much larger competition and changing regulations and technology and political will and cancel culture. But how do you consider yourself who are your competitors? And then what's your strategic advantage over them?
So, of course, it's a competitive market because it's a growing market. And of course, when it's a good sign. When you have competition, it's a good sign. It means that you have a market around you that is growing, and it's basically pulling interest of other companies to act in that, which is good. I think that our advantages are clear. As I mentioned, we are end-to-end solution. And if you're looking at our numbers again, we are offering simplicity, ability to empower data, and of course, supply path optimization. We have followed these rules, and we are connected. We are very close. We are connecting very close between the advertisers and the media partners in order to avoid spend on mediators and so on. So I think that on that matter, we are providing a lot of value to our clients and publishers. When we are looking at our publishers, as I mentioned, we also offer them unique capabilities like adding data layers so they can sell audience and not just media. And of course, one more thing is that they are closer to the source of media buy, and they can enjoy from our basically sales force that is selling media and running it through our DSP that is connected to these publishers. So I think that it's a clear value. If you are checking our numbers, you see that we are growing, one of the fastest growing companies in the industry, in our industry, from a top line, from net revenues perspective, and also from EBITDA perspective. And I think this is a good proof that people are choosing by basically spending more money and moving more media to us in order to grow their business.
I want to talk about your brand for a minute. Tremor International, you guys rose 2.1% on a report that the company recently held talks with a private equity firm about a potential takeover. I know you can't really talk a lot about it, but I'm wondering if you can maybe elaborate on the non-disclosure that was signed with that private equity firm, according to Sky News. So the $1.6 billion market cap. Sky News also reported that there's at least 2 institutional investors that have told the ad tech firm's chairman that they want to start a strategic review and initiate a share repurchase. Is there any update on that or anything that you can elaborate on?
So first of all, as a CEO of a public company, every time that a respectful private equity fund is approaching you and ask you to get details in order to make an offer, you need to at least sign an NDA and to have a conversation with them in order to see what is the offer, in order to bring it to the board. That is our duty as a public company. That's my duty as a CEO in a company. That's what happened in this case. So there is not anything unique in that, basically. And from our knowledge, and from my knowledge, nobody basically approached the company and asked for this process, but we really signed an NDA. And according to the British rules, if something like that happened and it was exposed in the news, you should react to that. And that's exactly what we did. So nothing special. In every life of a company, you have approaches from potential partners, buyers, and in big investors that wants to get like a discussion with the CEO or management, and you need to respect that in order to listen and to provide the information also to your board if it's relevant.
How do you determine whether an M&A is accretive or not? And are you currently looking? The cost of capital right now is incredibly affordable. Is there any mergers or acquisitions you're currently looking at?
We are always looking at the acquisitions. And if you look at our history, you will see that in the past 4 years, we made 4 of them. The last one was 3 months ago. We acquired, it was relatively a smaller acquisition, but in the last 4 or 5 years, we conducted about 3 major acquisitions. We acquired Tremor Video out of Telaria in the summer of 2017. We acquired Rhythm One, basically that was also a traded company in the London Stock Exchange in April 2019. And we acquired Unruly in January 2020. If you look at our balance sheet, you will see that we have a very strong balance sheet, no debt. In the end of Q3, we had $333 million in our bank account. And we know how to conduct M&As as I just discussed. And more important than that, I think that our team and our management knows how to integrate the company that we acquired into our business. Now, when you look at the ecosystem, and the end-to-end solution is helping us a lot in that, I think that we mentioned also to investors that what we will be looking for is to expand our technology capabilities in order to close the end-to-end solution and to bring more value to that. And that's exactly what we did with our last acquisition, that we acquired Spearhead, a German company that built a very strong CTV ad server and header bidder. It's a company that was created by veterans in the industry that already in the past created technology like that for other means. That was the name of the company was AdTech, that was sold to AOL a few years ago. And they decided a few years ago to build a platform that will be the most advanced for CTV and broadcasters, and that's exactly what they did. And we acquired this company in October 2021, and it will be integrated to our platform in this quarter, in the first quarter of 2022. And we said another thing, that we will keep buying and looking at least at the DSPs or demand sources, because we believe that every demand source that we can add to our platform, we will be able to enjoy from that, because if we will direct even part of their spend into our platform, it will generate for us additional growth and will improve the performance of that company that we are acquiring, and will integrate it basically into our operation. So we keep looking for acquisition like that. The market is capable of providing enough opportunities, and that's exactly what we are doing now.
So as you mentioned at Tremor, you guys acquired Unruly. That was a couple of years ago, 2020, to integrate the SSP. The purchase News Corp also initiated a partnership between Tremor, News Corp, where Tremor had that exclusive right to certain News Corp publishing, and then recently acquired Spiriad, that advanced CTV ad server technology, enabling the header binding, further complements its end-to-end platform offerings. And then in addition, announcing a partnership with VIDAA, VIDAA, the smart TV operating system, pre-installed on a lot of TVs, and integrating into a lot of number of premium original equipment manufacturing like Toshiba. But I'm curious, after having all of these M&As and strategic partnerships, what is the greatest value to a company trying to build a brand?
So if we are going back to the VIDAA partnership that you mentioned, I will demonstrate through that maybe also additional value, because it's all about data. And when we are talking about VIDAA, and we said that, you said that it's installed in a lot of TVs basically over the world. It's a company that most of the shares are owned by iSense, which is one of the biggest manufacturers of TV in the world, that also acquired and owned the TV part of Toshiba, which is a very strong brand in this world of TV. We are talking about more than 20 million TVs in 2022 that iSense and Toshiba are basically got in over the world. And our agreement with them is that basically we are able to get exclusively all their ACR data starting from May this year, 2022. And basically the ACR data means that we are able to understand what content they are consuming on these TVs, and it is helping us in targeting. So again, our job is not to build the brand, but to help to reach the clients that are more likely to engage with it and to adapt it in the future. And that's why we are adding these tools to our capabilities in order to be able to do that. So if you're looking at that, we have the video means, which is the most engaging format, and we are more than 80% on that. When we are running on CTV, which is for no doubt the most growing element on where people are investing or spending their time on a daily basis in order to consume content. So more than 25% of our revenue is already coming from CTV, and we partnered with the top brands around that in order to do that. And we are able to target the right ads to the right person through the data agreements that we got. And as you mentioned, this agreement with VIDAA is a very major one and unique for companies like ourselves that provide us a lot of a value and competitive advantage in the marketplace.
Is there any region that's more that has more advantages than another region for whatever reason? You guys are pursuing a lot of relationships with blue chip global brands and advertising agencies, as well as publishers, and a lot of industries: consumer, financial, entertainment, healthcare, retail, and others. Is there a section around the globe that entices you more than anywhere else?
So first of all, more than 90% of our revenues is coming from the US market. This is our growing market. This is our biggest market. I think that we have to remember that we became like international or global only in the beginning of 2020 when we acquired basically Unruly. Until then, we were only US based on that matter of video, CTV, and so on. And in the last 2 years, there was a lot of limitation and challenges in order to build a global business because of traveling restrictions and lockups and so on. But we believe that this year, 2022, with the ACR data that is going to be also global spread through the VIDAA agreement that we got and Spirit, we'll be able to grow our relationship in the different markets. We are now working in the most important markets on global level, meaning Japan, Australia, Singapore, Germany, UK, Canada. For us, it's also some of the part of the international. And I think that we are doing already a great job in these locations, but we can, of course, grow it and take it to the next level through the ACR data and through the knowledge and the practice and the products that we delivered and built in the US, and we can now move them also to the international usage.
All right, let's move on to revenue. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you think revenue is going to be moving forward in the near future. You guys already achieved an outstanding record growth in the third quarter. I think it was the last one that we had available. Net revenue was 54% in Q3 year over year, resulting in 76.7 million versus 49.7 the year before, all of which was driven by strong organic growth. The core of which I think was CTV services, if I'm not mistaken. Where do you think the biggest potential drivers are going to be, though, for revenue moving forward?
I think that the interesting part that we build around our business is that you have a few growth engines. So as we mentioned, the CTV is, of course, a growing element, and it's something that we put a lot of emphasis on that also in our innovation and building products and marketing them outside. But also in video, which is not just on CTV, is growing very, very strongly for us on all fronts when you look at that. And the demand for video is growing because, as I mentioned before, and you asked me several times about companies that are trying to build their brand. I think that companies that are trying to build a brand are usually using video. So we believe that the growth engines of our company will stay the element that we are already using, which is video, CTV, and data, which we saw that basically the Corona just enhanced the usage of them. So more budgets were moving from traditional TV to CTV, and video was playing a very big role on that. CTV, as we mentioned, is growing. We saw that in 2020 and 2021, the number of users, the number of advertisers that are pushed and push their budgets to CTV are growing immensely, and we believe that it will continue. And the usage of data is growing. Another element that we add to that is creative. We build a unit that's called Truly, that basically helping companies to work on their message better, to identify needs that are complementary to the video, around the video, in order to create like more engagement with the users and to create more stability to the, not stability, but efficiency to the ad that is being run by the advertisers in order to get more reaction from the users and so on. And it's working very well for us. So I think that our growth is coming from all the elements that we touched base on, meaning video, CTV, data. This is elements that are growing, and that's what helping us to keep this nice growth rates, which you saw, because we are basically in the center of the industry where it's growing, which is video, CTV, and video, CTV, and data.
What do you think is the number one aspect of your business that you think is most important for investors and folks that are on the sidelines to understand about your business?
I think that when you're looking at our business, what it's interesting to understand is that we are dealing, acting, working around the most innovation and more interesting and influencing elements in the edtech business, meaning video is no doubt the growth engines of this industry is growing much faster than the digital world. And when you're looking at that, that's first. The second thing is, again, CTV, sorry for repeating that, but we are one of the major players on CTV. I think that we have a lot to offer, and it's really interesting to see what we achieved, and there is a lot of room to grow in the future with the two elements that I just described to you, like Spirit, which is a CTV ad server, and another bidder. And also when you're looking at VIDA and all the data that can come from TVs, like the ACR data that will come, will help us also to grow the CTV presence of us. And the last point is when we are looking at our company, you can see the growth. You can see that we created a very agile platform that can be adjusted if needed in order to adjust to changes and so on. But it's interesting to see that it's also being supported by the trends of the industry, meaning when you're looking at SPO, which is supply path optimization that advertisers are looking for, we are there. We are basically providing very short, close touch between the advertisers and the publishers. If you're looking at the cookieless world or data importance, we are there because we have both sides. So we are much less relying on third-party cookies, and we can basically empower both sides by data. And I think this is what investors need to understand, that we have here a company that is dealing with the most growing elements of the industry of edtech. We built a very strong platform to serve that. And I think that our numbers in the last 2 years basically prove that we are able to grow fast, and we kept profitability As we mentioned, we will do this in 2021. We mentioned that we will do around $150 million of EBITDA. So I think it's a very strong number for a company in our size.
I'm wondering with the growth in CTV, was that a combination of COVID, people staying home and watching basically everything that Netflix had out, in combination with smart TVs? Is that kind of what's making the growth so substantial?
I think that in a quick answer, yes, but I think that also something really interesting happened here. I think that first of all, I think that this COVID stayed for long enough in order for people to build habits. So it's not was one month of bad weather that people stay at home. It's a long period of time that people are consuming content now, streaming content, and they got used to it, to how easy it is and so on. And they're using it more and more. The second thing is the media company that saw basically the demand coming up from users, from advertisers to this format. So they are moving a lot of their assets into CTV. And the last party is, of course, the advertisers and companies like us that recognize, guys, there is the place, if you want to reach your audience, this is the right place to reach him, because he's sitting in front of TV or in front of his TV in order to consume content through streaming, through the CTV. So you should be there. And we saw a lot of advertisers basically adapting this format and moving to this direction. So I think that it's like the perfect storm. You have enough time for people to get used and to build basically the behavior that will stay going forward. And you have the financial and the business rationale behind it, that it will grow. So I feel that it's serving all parties, the users, the end user, the media companies and the advertisers, and of course, companies like us that help these things to happen. And I think that COVID basically accelerated a lot of things that maybe would happen, but it will take them like 5 to 7 years. They happen in 2. Because we are talking about CTV. We believe that CTV were here to stay, and it started before COVID and it will stay after COVID, but I think that it was accelerated and got like more embedded into the behavior of users, advertisers, and media companies. So I think that it got like a very big boost. I think that the usage of data got accelerated during COVID because people want to invest their budget in a smart manner and really to reach their audience in the right manner, in the right time and the right audience. And the last point that is less common to talk about is the messaging. COVID brought with this in the last 2 years, not just COVID, but also a lot of social unrest in certain areas, mostly in the US, as we know. And I think that people also, advertisers, were learning that they need to put much more emphasis on the messaging that they are sharing with their clients and potential clients and so on. So, and I think that this is something that will stay also for the future. And at Tremor, as I mentioned to you about Truly, we also acquired under Unruly a company that's called EQ that basically help you to measure basically the emotional quality of your ads and to see the reaction of the user to make sure that he's really accepting it in the best position. So I think that all of that together is here to stay. They got accelerated by COVID, but I think that they are going to stay with us for the coming years.
Well, I think with that, we're going to have to wrap this one up. So I want to thank my guest, Ofer Druker. He is the CEO of Tremor International. You can find them on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol TRMR. Ofer, thanks for being with us at CEO Interviews.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I'm Josh Kincaid. This has been another CEO Interviews by Seeking Alpha. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.